It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Flying down from Nova Scotia today.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
I have a dream that all men are created equal.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Doom Nation, what's up, guys? You're listening to Doom Men Podcast. And as always, it's Skaggs and your captain. And Skaggs is a bit on the road right now. What are you doing, buddy?
This is fine. Yeah, I'm on the road again, so I'm a little bit out of sorts. So sorry if I am looking down throughout most of this episode, but I will be looking down so I could see the captain on the screen there.
I was wondering why you were looking down before.
That's where you are. I'm looking down at you, and the camera's like above me because I'm not obviously in the shack. I'm actually back in DC. That's why the whole place is on fire. Looked at my microphone, just comes in and out.
Yep.
So yeah, man, we're back. Talk about politics. Last time we got to do an episode was with
Lance.
that was
Awesome
a
guy.
while ago. That was a while ago now. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I know. I feel like it's been a minute, but we did a lot that one week. So
Yeah, we did. So we are back. A lot of shit to talk about. I got a funny article by CNN, which has already been changed because of how ridiculous it was, about Joe Rogan. We have to talk about
yes,
the trucker protest and what the Canadian government has done there. We are on the brink of war, not on the brink of war, on the brink of war, not on the brink of war, and who the fuck knows with Ukraine. If you haven't checked out our episode with Scott Horton, I highly suggest you do before you rush to any judgment about whatever the fuck's going on over there. Let Scott Horton tell you about it. And then you got a couple other things, Cap, you wanted to bring up.
yeah. The gun control activist who is now has been arrested. He's probably going to get released because they don't hold prisoners anymore for shooting a mayoral candidate down in Louisville.
I think that he was running against. I think this
That's
guy
even
was
better.
running
I didn't
against
know
the
that.
guy. Yeah,
But I do know he was a full-blown communist.
Let's real quick. I came across that story from Defiant L's. Let's pour one out for Defiant L's. They're
Yes.
my favorite Twitter account. They got banned today. Who knows why? Probably because they just share people's posts and hold them accountable.
They are back up.
Yeah, but is it them? It could be some
No, it's
imposter
so
looking.
no.
Them.
I'm looking.
It's him.
So they didn't take down the Defiant L's Instagram account.
No, not that. Yeah. I'm talking
So
about the Twitter account.
on the
Twitter's where
Defiant
the bread's
L's
buttered.
Instagram account, he just posted. Wait, hold on a second. Yep, no, he just. My bad. So the one I found was fake, and now his Instagram is saying this is not me. It's a fake. So
Yeah, you see
he's
what I mean?
not back up yet.
I know how Twitter goes. As soon as a big account goes down like that,
Someone makes it again.
Vultures come up
Yeah.
to try and regain the popularity so they can make one. Defiant L's is a great account. All
Yes.
it did was take people's old tweets and then take their new tweet and put them side by side to show how hypocritical people are and how most people, we were talking about this before, they have no honor. They have no core belief. They
And
just say
isn't it-
whatever the fuck is convenient to further their own narrative, which is exactly what this activist guy did. He tweeted about gun control, gun violence, this and that, and then he picks up a gun and while he's running for office against another guy and fucking shoots the guy at point blank range.
Here we go. Okay.
Go ahead.
Mr. Brown, because I'm not even going to try his first name. Kentucky I think this was Defiant L's. Kentucky's concealed carry law shows your life does not matter to gun-loving Republicans, because since you're a Republican, and if you're going to carry a gun, that means you just walk around blindly shooting people. Well, Mr. Brown, activist Brown, named in attempted shooting of Louisville mayoral candidate. When I read this, and I'm almost positive he's he's running as a communist.
I
And
think
he's
he is.
furious.
Yes. I think he is. Yeah.
Mind blowing.
You normally don't text me about things that I post in our story,
Yes.
Instagram stories. So when Cap does and he's mind blown by something, I know it was a really good story that I found. Yeah.
I can't believe this nonsense. Of all things, like, oh my God, like, you know, like the hippies who chain themselves to trees or something, like, are just like they get caught at home just chopping firewood all day long or something. Like,
Just burning down forests.
Yeah, you can't fuck up any harder.
Yeah.
Than
I mean,
this.
dude, even I had to put in our story, I was like, just because I'm pro 2A doesn't mean I'm pro murder.
Yeah.
The two have nothing to do with each other, right?
Oh my
but
God.
it goes to prove you, like I said, that a lot of these lefties and righties too, of course, they don't believe in anything.
No.
They just say whatever they need to say to gain power. Like this guy was running for office or whatever, right? The Communist Party, and he's trying to gain power. And I guess, well, you know, America, people ain't going to just straight up vote for someone for the Communist Party. And what do communists do? When they're going to lose? They pull out the guns and they just start shooting the opposition. And that's what the guy did.
You know what, though? Now I have a newfound respect for him. At least he stuck to his communistic guns. You know, he was the ship was going down.
No pun intended.
Yeah, the ship was going down, and it's like that Frank Reynolds meme where he's like, "So anyway, I just started blasting."
Yeah. Oh man, fuck, we should make that meme. No,
yeah,
we'll Photoshop his head over Frank, and it's like and it'll be him facing him or something, or maybe it could be the other meme of the guy shooting the guy in the chair. And it could be like, why did I do this to myself or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll figure out something.
Oh God. And he'll probably, like, if he like is allowed to make a comment, the comment's probably going to be like, see, I was right. That's how easy it is to just get a gun and start shooting people.
Oh, that's some 4D chess right there, right? He's trying to push for gun control by him causing gun violence. I mean, that's in line with the way government works most of the time, right? They create their own disasters. Yeah. And then they sell themselves, as we've said 6 trillion times on the show. They sell themselves as the answer to the problem.
And now that Defiant L's is gone,
there's no
what's coming up? Right. Campaign season. So now whoever's campaigning could say whatever the fuck they want, and Defiant L's ain't going to be there to his 350,000 followers. What is it? Maybe now we'll finally be able to get him on.
Maybe. I mean, we talked to him before and he seemed willing. So, I mean, it sucks. It sucks because it was just an account that was just dedicated to showing how hypocritical people are. And he didn't just do it to people on the left. He didn't. Yeah. He pointed out a lot of times people on the right. One I could remember recently was around Whoopi Goldberg and how some people on the right who are like so anti-cancel culture, and there's one woman who's so anti-cancel culture and is always posting about it. And then because Whoopi Goldberg said the wrong thing on television, the same person was like advocating for her to be stripped of. But
I was all in.
It's hypocritical.
I don't care how,
it's hypocritical though. So he does. My point is,
there's no one.
He covers accountability to both sides.
Yeah,
we didn't talk. Me and you didn't talk about that. Me and Ortiz talked about that on the Slice of Doom, the Whoopi Goldberg thing. But
yeah, I was all for canceling her. These people who cancel other people need to know that they could get canceled too. You know?
Yeah,
it's a vicious game you want to play, and you don't need to play it. So if we're gonna get to play it when you're on the the shit end of the stick, we're gonna play it.
Fair enough. My view was I don't think anybody should get canceled for the wrong think. I think that what she said was dumb, and I don't feel bad for her whatsoever for being banned for 2 weeks. Like, I'm not going to shed a fucking tear because they are the ones that her and the show are always advocating for other people to be canceled. So hey, you get what you get what you deserve, but I don't think you should have been canceled for wrong think. So yeah. That was pretty fun.
So let's get into another cancel.
Yeah,
the more cancel culture. Joe Rogan.
My final point. I'm
sorry.
I'm disappointed that Defiant L's is gone. I really am. Yeah. I don't think they did anything wrong. All they did wrong was hold people accountable. So it's just another example of big tech censorship.
They made you look in the direction you weren't supposed to be looking in.
Yeah, exactly. So our next topic is I woke up on Sunday morning or Saturday morning and make my coffee, and I go to my computer or my phone and I go look at Twitter, and I see a CNN article, and it's from CNN, because at first I thought this was fake, that this wasn't even real, that someone photoshopped this shit. Because people Photoshop shit, right? All the time. And I saw a headline article from CNN, and it says, Joe Rogan's use of the N-word is another January 6th moment. And I almost spit out my coffee when I read this, right? Because I mean, if you haven't watched our show, we've covered January 6th at length. They are now using, obviously we don't think January 6th was as bad as the cathedral, the establishment makes it out to be. We think there's more to the story than meets the eye. They're now using their own created sanctimonious terrorist attack holiday as like a barometer for other made up stuff that they want to say is worse than it. Like they're living in such clown fantasy world that they're using their own crafted narratives to make each other look worse, like to make one thing look worse than the other.
So by that, it's Joe Rogan dropping an N-bomb. It would have been more acceptable of Joe Rogan to either A, hijack an airplane and drive it into a building full of people, or B, get the Japanese army to surprise attack a naval base and bomb the crap out of. That would be more accepting of if Joe Rogan did that today than saying the N-bomb how long ago?
So let's go on the tragedy, the ranking of great American tragedies by the corporate press and the establishment, right? And this ties back to Define Els, because Define Els is the first person who posted something holding some of this ridiculous shit accountable. So if you could rank the tragedies of American history in terms of the left, the least severe tragedy, I'd say, is Pearl Harbor. That's down here at the bottom.
Civil War, probably.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like attacks on the country, like one shocking attacks on the country. So Pearl Harbor is down here. Next, we got 9/11. That's number 3, right? We got 9/11 slightly above, Pearl Harbor. Coming in at number 2, what do you think? What's number 2 now? I don't know. Because in terms of their ranking, January 6th is worse than 9/11. Right. So what's worse now? Is it Joe Rogan is worse than 9/11, or is it January 6th in terms of the ranking for the worst day in the history of America?
No, it's Joe Rogan saying it. Yeah.
You think it's Joe Rogan's the worst? Yeah. So coming in at number 2 is January 6th.
Yes.
That's worse than 9/11.
This is the new. Yeah.
And even worse than 9/11 is Joe Rogan saying the N-word. That's, put aside thousands dead, massacred, people drowning in Pearl Harbor, what's her name being shot at the Capitol, right? All of that pales in comparison to a comedian saying the N-word on his podcast.
When there's video of our sitting president saying it.
Yeah. That's the low-hanging fruit, right? I mean,
I will always pick the
pick it. Pick the low-hanging fruit, brother. Yeah.
Because there's some people out there that have no idea that video exists.
Yeah.
That's not a video that, like, in the real world, if we weren't run by corrupt organizations, that video would have went viral. If it was a video of Trump saying that, the government wouldn't even have let it go viral. They would have sent it to everybody's cell phone.
Yeah, it would be on the emergency broadcast system. This is Trump dropping N-bombs left and right. So real quick. So what's funny about this article, which it gets even worse, is I guess CNN saw how they were just being completely laughed at throughout the entire social media and whatnot. They changed the name of the article right there in front of everyone's eyes. So they changed it from Joe Rogan's use of the N-word is another January 6th moment to why shrugging off Joe Rogan's use of the N-word is so dangerous. They changed the headline of it, right?
Oh, my God.
I won't go too in-depth in reading the article. I'll start off here. The podcaster Joe Rogan did not join a mob that forced lawmakers to flee for their lives. He never carried a Confederate flag inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. No one died trying to stop him from using the N-word. But what Rogan and those that defend him have done since video clips of him using the N-word surfaced on social media is arguably just as dangerous as what a mob did when they stormed the US Capitol on January 6th last year. So they changed the headline, but they didn't change the contents of the article. The article is still just as outrageous as the old headline was. I'm not going to go in here and read the entire thing because it's a bunch of just completely made up, outrageous nonsense bullshit. I'm pretty sure they somehow compare Joe Rogan having the podcast platform. They compare him to I don't know if you're familiar with this, Cap. What is the country in Africa that had the massacre between the Hutu and the Tutsis? Rwanda. They compare Joe Rogan having a megaphone to the tribe that kind of like was broadcasting over the radio to massacre the other tribe in Rwanda back in the 90s.
Right.
They actually so now not only is it worse than 9/11 and January 6th, but you could throw in the Rwandan massacre in there where like tens of thousands of people were killed in like a tribal ethnic cleansing. They're trying to compare. Right. They're trying to say that Joe Rogan essentially was doing something along the lines of what the one tribe was doing,
look at it,
spreading the message over the airwaves to kill the other tribe.
Look at the way they view that though. Like he reaches 11 million people per episode. Some of those clips with Dr. Robert, what's his last name?
Malone and
Dr. Malone. Yeah. They got to be up to like what? A couple of almost 100 million or something.
100 million probably by now, yeah.
That is not good for the agenda. He is not talking about this all. He was able to talk about whatever he wanted. Over 1,000 episodes. Dropping N-bombs was never a problem. He started talking about this shit. And we were talking about it last time. There was a coordinated effort. You know, when one thing didn't work, they tried another thing and another thing didn't work, and they're still going after him. And then they're going after Spotify and they want to get involved with Spotify. You're over the target. You know what I mean? Yeah. He has more listeners than they could get on CNN. Their plan right there in the simplest form is not working. World Economic Forum, New World Order, the establishment, whatever title you accept them by, their plan to succeed with the Great Reset, that simplifies right there that it didn't work.
Yeah, and it's funny because one of the people who led this charge to cancel Joe Rogan, also you mentioned it before to me before we recorded, is Neil Young. Neil Young pulled his music off Spotify because he wanted to take some sort of moral stance against Joe Rogan. Go to Spotify and search for Neil Young. His music is back up on Spotify.
Yep.
So again, like we said before, one of the beautiful things about Define L's is that they hold people accountable. Well, now there's no Define L's to post about that. I mean, maybe he did, but these people don't believe in anything. They don't have any honor. They just go with the wind and do whatever they say. For whatever reason, I mean, I think there's more to Neil Young than meets the eye behind who owns his music and whatnot. I'm pretty sure he has ties to BlackRock and the pharmaceutical industry. That's a black hole we could go down, but I don't think we will today. So yeah, no morals. Obviously, Joe Rogan is not any sort of fucking terrorist. He can't. There's comparing him to the Rwandan massacre or 9/11 or January 6th. I don't think January 6th was that bad, and that shit was way fucking worse, obviously, than anything Joe Rogan has ever said. It goes without saying that obviously the clip of him using the N-word was all clipped, taken out of context. We covered it. It was done by a company that has ties to a Democratic super PAC. Joe has said it himself. It's a political hit job. It's completely bullshit. You're over fucking target. These people are into death throes. CNN. They're going out of business. They're on their way out. So they're flinging shit at the fucking wall and trying to see if things stick.
Doing whatever they can. Yeah. The death rattle.
The death rattle. Yeah.
But dude, I really would like to see Joe Rogan turn around and go scorched earth. He's really would like,
bro. He's not the type.
I know, but he should. He's
not the type. He's not the type. Dave Portnoy had on the guys who were basically made the clip, and he exposed them like on his podcast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't watch 100%, but he even like went after like one of the guys and his wife or something like that. I don't know the exact thing. Dave Portnoy is a guy who will go after you scorched earth.
Yeah.
If you do shit like that, because they've done similar things to him before, like slandered him in the newspaper and made up completely false shit about him, but he goes after people like by lawsuits or by
Well, you
come
should.
on my show and let's have it out and whatnot. So
Hey,
yeah,
you know what?
that's-
Maybe Joe will drop a few lawsuits. Kyle Rittenhouse a few weeks back said, "Oh, they're coming."
Yeah, I hope so. I'd like to see Portnoy and Joe get together for a conversation.
Yes.
That'd be interesting one day.
Oh, that'd be dope.
So where do you want to go next? What the bag of tricks? What topic you want to go to?
Let's do
Next.
Canada. That one's been irking me for a while. It's very interesting what's going on there, and I'm not going to say it's sparking a revolution, but it's sparking something. There was a huge march today in Australia. I think there's a trucker convoy that they're going to try and start in California. And I don't know if they're going to drive to Washington or something. They're going to drive across country. I don't know what they're going to do, but boy, Trudeau has lost all control and committed political suicide. And these are the actions of a man who lost.
I think so. It's interesting just thinking back to we've talked about a couple times now, and we theorize over like how did we think it was going to go. And you said he was, and we already said that you were right that he was going to double down because he already did double down. Now he's like octupled down.
Yeah, there's there's nothing he won't do at this point.
So if anybody's not aware, obviously there is the trucker convoy protest, and it is very simple in Canada. The truckers have gone to Ottawa and they are protesting because they want the vaccine mandate removed from them. It's very clear cut. It's very simple. There's no other agenda. There's no other goal behind the protest. So Prime Minister Trudeau has not been amicable whatsoever to this whole time. Like I said, he's doubled down. He invoked the Emergency Powers Act or something like that. And essentially, it now gives the government emergency powers, funnily enough, for 2 weeks only, right? Or so they say, 15 days to flatten freedom. It gives them the power to freeze bank accounts, to arrest people, essentially, to seize your assets without due process. So normally, again, this is Canada. I don't know exactly how their laws work. It's somewhat, it's not as free as America. I don't know exactly what protections they have, but they have some similar protections, I would assume. They have some sort of due process like we do here.
Yeah.
This Emergency Powers Act has essentially stripped any citizen involved in this protest of due process. So and it's going to be used as a way to try and cut off their funding so they can't buy gasoline and fuel up the truck and keep themselves warm because it's fucking Canada and it's negative 30 degrees all day. So they want the protest to end, and they're trying to starve them out, essentially. Some of the protests were going on at the bridges, and they beefed up the militarization of the police at the Ambassador Bridge, I believe it was, and eventually they forcefully removed everybody there. I have to give the Canadians credit. They have been holding on for a couple of weeks now, longer than I thought they would. I'm not going to criticize them for getting pushed off the bridge. But at the end of the day, they're Canadians. They're a lot more polite and nicer than some Americans are. But the guys in Ottawa are still there, and they're still hanging on. They haven't given up yet. I mean, what Trudeau has done here, it's dangerous. I'm not even going to lie.
The actions of a man who has already lost. You're right. It's dangerous. Continue. Go ahead.
It's dangerous because it's a precedent setter, and the protest is not. If you want to compare, we could compare the protest to Black Lives Matter, right?
No, do it because you need to.
I'm just saying if we want to, right? Everybody, I don't even have to say it. Everybody knows exactly the comparisons that can be made. But I want to actually make the comparison over the Black Lives Matter protests. Like the goal is ambiguous almost, right? Like what's the goal exactly? What like clear goal could be won by the Black Lives Matter protest? Exactly. Like we want Black people to live better lives. Okay. But like, I don't know. I'm not sure like how the protest could exactly achieve that. It's not that as cut and dry as how you get there. The freedom protest is cut and dry. You enacted a law. We don't like that law. You have to remove that law and we will go home. That's all that has to be done by Trudeau. Right. And actually, some of the provinces in Canada
have removed
Like the
Yes.
states in Canada have actually removed their own
Yes.
local laws, right? So the Canadian government in general is not that opposed to removing the rules. It's just the federal government does not want to give up for whatever reason. And if you want to end the protest because you think it's the worst thing ever, that's all you have to do is just take your fucking pen, Justin Trudeau, and sign on the line saying, I remove the mandate. It doesn't mean people can't get vaccinated or they can't wear a mask or whatever. I'm pretty sure Canada has like 70 to 90% of the population is already vaccinated anyway.
Yeah.
What more do you want to accomplish? I don't understand. Just do it and let them go home. Instead, he's designated everybody as fucking terrorists and has suspended due process. And he's going to basically ruin everybody's lives because they have had the audacity to challenge the government on bodily autonomy and freedom.
We are getting firsthand glimpse at how far the World Economic Forum, the establishment, is willing to go. He's an established guy. Soros didn't give him the little email yet saying, release the mandate. You know what I mean? He's not a free thinker. He's just a puppet in a much bigger scheme. And yeah, he's committing, I give it up to him. The guy's got balls of steel to stick to this plan and follow his orders. Because any sane, reasonable person, okay, let's, but when you're working for something bigger, this is the lengths they're willing to go. And this needs to be the wake up call, because, just because it's not on your side of the fence, one day you're going to protest something and they're going to do this to you. Okay. And don't, fine, you want to say it's a right wing, blah, blah, blah. The left protests about plenty of stuff. I also have been saying, I think the Canadian truckers should just get all BLM flags, all BLM t-shirts, and start saying they are the BLM of Canada, and we're not going to leave until the vaccine mandates are lifted. Really force the government's hand. You're going to call, just start. There's no, you could just call yourself it, remove the name, Freedom Convoy, whatever,
right,
and say you're the BLM convoy.
Well, their cause the freedom obviously is composed of everybody. It's not a fucking racist.
No, it's not
thing.
about race.
It's not about race at all. It's like I said.
And I'm not saying make it about that.
No, I'm not. But if you really were living in reality, which the federal government of Canada is not, these vaccine mandates disproportionately affect minorities, right? Yeah. We've covered that on the show. They are resistant to government overreach and whatnot historically, right? And their percentages of vaccination, like the rate of vaccination, is usually less than white people, right? I mean, so in a way, it is tied to Black Lives Matter, right? Because the mandates are going to disproportionately negatively affect Black people in Canada. Again, I don't know exactly the racial composition of Canada and the dynamic there or whatever, but it's somewhat similar to America, definitely.
But dude,
you kind of answered my question. I was going to ask you a question before, but you kind of already answered it. It's like, well, why are you still doing this? Like, you have, it's so easy. The easy option is right there on the table and you haven't done it. Why haven't you done it? Right.
Yeah. And especially now, sorry to jump in on it, but especially now that, like, and we're not going to let people get away. This is a whole nother episode that we're going to have to do. But like, just because New York lifted the mandates, the science is all of a sudden changing a month before campaign season starts, and we're losing. So now, if you look around the world, UK, the Czech Republic, these, places like New York and stuff are all lifting these mandates. You're ready to go to war with your own people. Meanwhile, according to CNN and, Hochul and, the Prime Minister of the UK, the science has changed enough that we could lift these mandates. The rest of the world's lifting these mandates. You're ready to go to war.
Right. It's completely illogical. And it has to, again, make you ask the next question is, why is he doing this? It just, at this point, it's even politically acceptable for him to remove the mandate because it has been removed in other countries, which were just as brazenly overreaching as Canada is, right? Even here in America, a lot of the Democrat states have removed a lot of their mandates, right? I don't know. Let's go out on a limb, right? He
What
had a
if-
meet when he disappeared, when the whole thing happened.
Yeah.
They called him in, right, to Davos or wherever with fucking Klaus Schwab, and they were wearing those crazy fucking suits, those space suits that they're wearing. They said, you know, hey, soy boy, you know, you're the last bastion of the Great Reset. And they probably told him, like, I don't care if it costs you your own political career. You have to, someone has to take a stand against freedom and continue to push our agenda. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
Or maybe he's a white hat and he is doing this to spark revolution across the world and get more of this to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't believe that, but he's almost
neither do I.
having that effect, right? Because on Twitter, I've been critical, like, where is the left? Where are you?
Yeah.
Like, you have to say something about this. And finally, they have. Not everybody, obviously. You can't just generalize, but some people that I always give shit to, like Kyle Kalinske, finally fucking said something. Bill Maher has fucking said something. Jimmy Dore has said something. A lot of like your left, like personalities are like, this is not right. This doesn't make sense. I posted that video of Bill Maher talking about Justin Trudeau, and Bill Maher was like, yeah, you know, I thought Justin Trudeau was a nice guy, and he's like, some of his comments, I guess Bill Maher, like, just, you see what I mean, like. Bill Maher just stumbled across these comments, right? Like, me and you knew about these comments, and we're not right-wing guys, but we knew about them the day they came out. But for whatever reason, like, these people live in a bubble and they don't see this shit. So Bill Maher pointed out a lot of the crazy comments about how they're like right-wing, racist, Nazis, and he's like, no, they're not. Bill Maher is like, no, they're not. And then he pointed out the comment about how, you know, like, we can't tolerate these people and we have to figure out what we're going to do with them. Even Bill Maher was like, well, yeah, now you kind of do sound like Hitler, which is something that people like us have been saying for the longest time about these COVID regime dictators.
Hey,
you know?
people are waking up.
I'm glad, right? So it's almost having a counter effect. I can't fucking foresee he's going to be the prime minister for the next thing. Oh, my camera just died.
Oh yeah, froze.
All right, so we're back. Had a little technical difficulty there, as usual. I'm in the hive of scum and villainry where nothing works. So yeah, man. Actually, here's a good chance to. I think out of everything we just railed about with Canada and whatnot, I think there's a good chance to show. I think one of them probably is going to be a famous clip in the future, or like just video when the history books are written and the Canadians are shown as this Canadian government is shown as like the totalitarians that they were. When Trudeau was doing his little conference the other day announcing this, I don't know who this lady is. She's another member of their government, and she goes on to talk about the rules and the laws are. And this is something everybody's got to hear and see. So I'm going to play it for you guys.
The government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith. Federal government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers to ensure that we can all work together to put a stop to the funding of these illegal blockades.
So I'm trying not to
two
laugh over
things.
here. Yeah. So shout out to Clint Liberty Lockdown. I was on his Twitter page showing that. I'm just laughing also because his pictures are on the side, and there's a picture of like the fat Asian kid with the rolls.
Yes,
on the side.
I was looking at that. So two things. one, isn't a social credit system great, everyone? And
Yeah,
two,
this is the ESG system that they're going. Yeah, environmental, social. Yeah, go ahead, go.
and two, man, wouldn't it be something if everybody in Canada just went to the bank and took all their money out? That wouldn't crash the bank system up there, now would it? That wouldn't
Yeah.
fuck up all, the bank's inner workings at all. That wouldn't cause a problem for the federal government.
So remember now, right? Yeah, you're right. That would, and that's maybe a good idea, at least from the big chain banks like Royal Canadian Bank or whatever, right? But, remember what we were saying. Bill Maher said before, something we've said bajillions of times, and everybody says all the time. These people are Nazis, right?
Yeah.
What is it again that Benito Mussolini said about fascism? Do you remember?
Oh, when the government forces its work with corporations.
Right. When the definition of fascism is the merger between corporation and state, right? What could you define better as a merger between corporation and state besides the fact that the government gave themselves an emergency power which tells corporations to deplatform their customers because their customers are doing things the government doesn't like, right? And it's not like the government is going to go in there and kick you out of the bank. No,
Right.
The bank is going to kick you out. They're going to do so by order of the government. That is fucking fascism. These are private companies that the government is mandating to literally take you. Like the government in an anarchist and a freedom fucking world, the government has no right to get involved in your bank.
Government
account and
right
your
now
fucking
should have no right.
finances. Right. They don't, but they have literally said, well, we have the right. You know who gave us the right? We did. We give ourselves whatever magical right we want because you did something we don't like. So we could just literally do whatever we want. And it's only 15 days to stop the spread of freedom. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes for this to go down. But this is the danger. This is a danger, right? Because we were saying before, going forward now, the precedent has been set. And this is something that the elites and whatnot, they're trying to push on everybody. It's like this social credit system. And this is an example of how a social credit system works, right? Like you didn't do something that you did, or you did something that they don't like. Okay. You lose access to society.
Your bank.
You lose access to your bank. You lose access to going to the store. That's how this shit works. This is why people like us are on here screaming about this shit all the time and trying to warn people. And you might look at us like we're fucking retards or we're being conspiracy
Spoiler
theorists.
warners.
We're conspiracy theorists, right? Oh, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. How many fucking times does these things have to happen now before people in general start to wake up to it? I really have to say there's a white pill to be had out there that the left is saying something about this finally.
Yeah. Well, you know what? With all the honking and no one can sleep, you've been asleep for a long time. It's time to get awake. It's time to wake up.
That's a funny thing about the nature of the protests in itself is how they just, like honk, like clown world.
Yep.
They're waking people up who are asleep. Just the sheer obnoxiousness of the whole thing, I find completely fucking hysterical.
They're having fun with it too, and that's what's really upsetting the establishment, that these people are just throwing a nonstop party in the face, and being defiant. Oh God, where did I want to go with this? It does set the worst precedent there is, because let's be honest, the next time there's a large gathering for a right-wing reason or something that the government deems to be, extreme right-wing, what do you think? You don't think Joe Biden's going to pull something? Right. Joe Biden's not going to do it. He's going to make one of these Democratic mayors or governors do something very similar. You can't trust GoFundMe anymore. That company needs to be wiped off the face of the earth.
Right. So, you know what? Actually, you mentioned them. Give, Send, Go kind of stepped in to start facilitating the donations. Mm-hmm. They were hit with a massive cyber attack. Right.
Look at that.
A list of the donators was published online.
That's
doxing. That's doxing, where you take people's information, you put online so that other people who are angry at them can go target them and try and kill them or physically assault them. Yep. Who do you think did the attack, the cyber hacking attack?
Who has the most to lose? The Canadian government? Yeah.
Come on. You think like hackers did that? Like actual hackers are gonna go and hack something like that that's against the government? Hackers fucking hate the government. Right? No, it was probably the government of Canada or the CIA or some shit that did that to Goose and Go. It's just,
So
speculation. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
So now to wrap this topic up, I ask once again, where do you think this goes? Because I'm not gonna. I loved back when Q was a thing. There was always the shot heard around the world. The Canadian military. Honestly, I pray, I hope not, but I don't underestimate Trudeau. I don't underestimate anybody who's pulling his strings to dig in this deep, that there won't be an open fire order, some type of, there's already been, I'll call them conspiracies. I have no backing information on it, that guns are being found and stuff. And that, there's obviously going to be people who infiltrate these convoys at some point and stash guns or stash a pipe bomb, or, you know what I mean? To make this false flag operation, to be like, oh my God, they're armed, and the military or the police open fire. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I don't think they'll use the military because they got the boys in blue, baby. Back to blue.
That's fine. I don't disagree.
They're going to go in there and they're going to. I think that's eventually how this is going to go, right? I think he's going to. Let's see, we're in February. Winter lasts pretty long in Canada, right? I'd say if the weather got better and they were able to not need as many supplies to keep themselves warm, they'll be able to last longer. But I think the strategy of cutting off their supplies, cutting off their funding, and then a heavily militarized police presence for removal will physically remove people from the protests, and then they'll hash out the removal of the equipment, the trucks, and whatnot later. I think that's how it's going to go. However, I think this is the end of Justin Trudeau and his version of the federal government of Canada. I don't know. I look on social media and I see people that are in support of this, like in Canada. I think they're a small fringe minority. Honestly, I don't think Canada is down for this. I think he's done. His days are numbered. He's going to lose the next election. Anybody who supported this behavior is going to lose the next election. This is Canada.
Provided they
not
don't rig
America.
it.
This is Canada. This is not America that this is happening in. But so let's just point out, there's been not a word of condemnation from Joe Biden or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or the squad or any of these people on the left or the progressives, right? So you could say, well, what do you care? What do we care, right? It's in Canada. No, we care, right? Because our politicians, our people with their buttons on, the levers or whatever, hands on the levers right now, they don't care. They don't mind what's going on there. They haven't said a word about it, right?
They'll
the president
do it too.
who's always crying about how there's fewer democracies in the world right now, not more, fewer, right? He hasn't said a word about anti-democratic policy, like practices going on in Canada. So keep that in mind. You got to always keep that in mind. That is why we scream from the mountaintop. As soon as something doesn't look right, you have to scream from the mountaintop.
Dude, I will scream it now. 100%, this is not beneath Joe Biden. This is something I hook, line, and sinker can see him doing.
What do you think about? So I think that there is some sort of trucker protest convoy.
They're apparently starting in March.
Do you think there should be one on the same level, in the same manner here in America? Like, what do you think? You think it should be done?
It's going to be hard to justify doing it because, like, DC today just lifted all their mandates. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe something should happen, not something bad, not something, maybe in the schools. I think people need to step up and get the kids unmasked.
I'm just talking about trucker protest, straight up.
I would like to see something just because, that disrupt the system in me, it wants that. But I think with all the mandates lifting right now, it'd be hard to justify digging in the way Canadians are. If these mandates weren't lifting, because let's be real, the polls are terrible for everybody who's running in November, and they need to do something. And it's going to be our job to make sure no one forgets what they did over the past 2 years.
Right.
So it'd be hard to justify it. If this wasn't going on and the mandates weren't being lifted and it was only getting worse, then hell yeah, shut it all down, coast to coast.
Yeah, again, my instinct is, yeah, burn it all, disrupt the system, right? But you can't. That's the same sort of thinking that almost occurred on January 6th, to a larger extent, right? And you
Right.
can't. You have to be tactical with this stuff, right? Yeah, like we're not in America. We're not in the same situation that Canada is in with mandates, right? We have way more fucking freedom here. I actually posted before. I said, what's the common, or what's the difference between the level of freedom in Canada and in America right now?
Second
what's
Amendment.
I was just gonna say, guns are the difference.
Yep.
So it's not as a dire of a situation here that we need to destroy the supply chain and
Yeah.
shut everything down, because then if that happens, and what's the clear goal? It's like, okay, you're protesting, you're like, against what though? Against a
Yeah.
mandate that doesn't necessarily exist, because
Exactly.
I don't think the truckers have a mandate in America against a vaccine.
Well, maybe they
then
can
you'll
force.
you'll draw ire against you
Yeah.
from people who now can't find. It's already hard
Yeah.
to find shit in the store. Now I can't find anything. And why can't I? Because Joe Biden, you bet your fucking ass, he's going to be on that TV and he's going to be, there's no products in the stores. There's no this, there's
Yeah.
no that. That's because of these right-wing extremist truckers and everything that they stand for, blah, 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 blah. So in my opinion, right now, it's a tactical mistake to do a huge trucker protest.
Yeah.
There's not much to be gained. In Canada, yes.
I think
they're
they should do the convoy to show that, like, if we need to, like, millions of
Right.
people are
I'm
going to
fine
show
with
up
that.
nationwide.
Yeah, maybe you want to do it on
Like a
right,
show,
yeah.
like a military show of force.
by we the people, by
Yeah.
the workers, right? Like,
Yes.
it can be done, maybe for a weekend, so it doesn't actually affect it, and everybody go home. But like, look, it is capable. We can
Yeah.
organize and do it. I mean, I'll even maybe go. You know what I mean? But I think it just my caution, my warning would be to be tactical.
Yeah, we don't
not to
need it
be
right now.
stupid. Yeah. So yeah. Anything else? You want to keep going, or you want to wrap it up?
I mean, you want to touch on anything short, or because my next story is big. I know your next story is kind of big. Well, actually, why
Yeah.
don't you just we'll wrap it up with the article you found about Ukraine,
Sure.
because
So
we'll be
so,
getting
we
into what I
did-
want to talk about eventually.
So, yeah, so we did briefly touch on at the beginning. You should check out our episode with Scott Horton, learn about
Mhm.
Ukraine. Ukraine's a mess, man. Over the past week, I've heard
Wait, hold on.
going to
Can we
war.
just? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry. We were laughing about it before, but it is just. Do you think, like, there's a Google share drive among
Yeah.
world leaders and they're
Amongst
scheduling?
Ukraine?
Okay, Wednesday. How does 9 o'clock? No, 9 o'clock doesn't work. What about 10 o'clock? Oh, okay. Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Russia invades Ukraine.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Like Bryce said, we were laughing because you said, maybe they scheduled a Zoom meeting
Yeah.
like we do to schedule the war. So yeah, the president of Ukraine the other day said that Russia is going to invade Ukraine on Wednesday, right? Which is
Tomorrow.
right, is tomorrow.
Well, it may be
Um,
over there. It's right now, is it?
Yeah, right. It is right over there. Yes, it is right now. Then he backtracked and said, no, that's not going to happen. Putin has moved some of the forces in the region away from that area. He's pulled back the forces. Again, this is within Russia's own borders. They have every right to move their military within their own borders, but he's moved them away. But over here, man, it's fucking full steam ahead. We've evacuated the embassies. We're pulling out everybody. The president, Congress drafted a letter today condemning everything all military aggression Russia has done again within their own borders of their own country. They're moving their military around. Congress put out a statement today that I read before we started this, actually condemning everything, and that we have to take a strong stance, a strong this, strong that. We have to respond. We have to protect Ukraine and NATO, our allies. Almost like the statement they put out almost is like they're just including Ukraine as part of NATO when it's actually not part.
No,
of
it's
NATO.
not.
Yeah,
And that's
right.
why Putin's so angry, because he doesn't want Ukraine to be part of
on his border, on his doorstep. I don't think Putin's a good guy, but I understand his point. He doesn't want us encroaching on his fucking territory. So I found an interesting article, and this is by the Mint Press News. This is by Alan MacLeod, and this guy, he did research, right? And it says Mint Press study, the New York Times, Washington Post, driving U.S. to war with Russia over Ukraine. This Mint Press study reveals that 90% of recent opinion articles in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal have taken a hawkish view on the Ukraine conflict, written by pundits tied to the national security state, promoting NATO as a defender of the free world, and describe Putin as Hitler incarnate. Right. So,
Hold on, question though. I thought like a large majority of NATO doesn't even want to get involved in this as well.
yeah, I mean, Putin has been negotiating with like President Macron of France. It's, you know what I mean? Like each country to a certain extent is still its own little entity, you know, like they all move, the river all go, like politics is downstream, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever it is, or everything only goes in one direction. But let's just say that everything's going in one direction, but maybe not the same speed.
Right.
They all have their own ability. So, I mean, Putin doesn't want war. I've literally seen him today saying, I don't want war. He's like, I just want assurances that you're not putting medium range ballistic missiles on my fucking border.
Yeah.
Right. That's his goal here. And he's willing to, I believe he's willing to go to war to prevent that from happening.
Oh, he will.
But
He will.
it's a reasonable accommodation, I believe. Right. Like I said, we said before, when they put missiles on our border, we almost nuked the entire planet in order to make that not happen. So, I mean, shout out again to Mint Press News. They just documented how stuff that we've talked about before, Operation Mockingbird, all the corporate press, 90% of their opinion pieces are all pro-war. And again, these are the same corporate press media outlets, which are like Black Lives Matter, equity, this, that, love, etc. They love war.
Yep.
They're pushing for war. And if there's one thing I can say to people out there, it's have this conversation with normal people, like in your life. If we've taught you anything about Ukraine, please tell people that war with Ukraine is not a good idea. Why do we want to go to war with Ukraine? Why should we be supporting people just being killed? War, no one wins. There's no winners in war. Why?
Yeah.
Why should war is almost like a abstract idea for Americans, right? Like you plug in Call of Duty and you kill people. Yay, it's a game. So we look at wars happening on the other side of the world in the same way, as if it's like a Call of Duty match going on and we don't care. It's not like that. It's real. People die. They get incinerated over like nothing. It doesn't affect my life or your life in any way. We should never be just blindly supporting, oh yeah, well, America, we're at war again.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Final comment on it. It's real. I mean, Joe Biden's not doing good. They need a good distraction. And it's kind of funny now that, as you're explaining this, I'm thinking back of everything we just talked about. So Trudeau, the last thing he's even thinking about is lifting these vaccine mandates. He's literally willing to become a fascist and destroy his career forever by going to war with these people instead of just lifting the mandates. And you wanted to know why before. Why it gets to a point now. Why is Joe Biden? Why is all of the corporate media? Why is Congress all in favor? Can't agree on nothing. But now we could all agree unanimously that we need to go fight Russia when Russia is literally pulling back and negotiating with other countries saying, well, we just don't want this. And other countries going, okay, that's understandable. Why is it to the point that Joe Biden needs to do this?
Right. Why is he so invested in that?
Yes.
Why is he so invested in the aggressive narrative around it instead of let's just hash this out, right?
Yeah.
We don't need to. No, he is invested in the aggressive. Putin, a former KGB agent, is more level-headed about this than our government. It's not just Biden. It's our government.
No, I included all Congress.
Yeah. Right, in our Congress too. Yeah. The why. Yeah. It's suspicious, right?
Yeah.
You should just be able to look at the why and be like, don't make sense.
I mean, and that's an interesting why too, because for most of the people that we fought against all throughout COVID, that just accepted anything from the CDC, like this is something that like isn't in your realm. Like, you have to see like this is fact, like, or are you just going to blindly believe
Maybe
that, you know,
Right, yeah.
that like, no, Putin isn't pulling back. No, Putin already, you know, I'm pretty sure you could start like a rumor at work and be like, do you hear Putin invaded? And the whole office would be
I
like,
wonder
"Oh,
if I wonder if I see what you're saying, right? Like people who are like on the left, right? Again, hate the terms.
the sheep,
People,
yeah,
people
the
who wear
lowest
30
form.
masks, right? Why would they be invested in? Why would they think it's a good idea for this war to occur, right? It doesn't seem to make sense that they would think that, right? You would think that'd be like, no, we shouldn't. You would think that we would agree.
Yeah,
here.
me and you,
This
me,
is-
I would be
right.
saying, let's run to war. Let's run to war.
Right.
Whereas they should
Right.
be like, no, we don't need to go to war.
Right. So essentially, yeah, something I think is that we're still liberals. They are all they're the iron law of woke projection.
Yeah.
They're
Let's
all
turn
the
them
far
Republican.
Right. We're still the liberals, you know, right? They're the neocons now. But just to go a step deeper, I do think that there is a group of people in this country that are so detached from reality that they're still so invested in the Russiagate. The 2016 election was stolen from Russia, Hillary Clinton narrative, that they want to go to war with Russia to get revenge for that.
I never thought of that, but yeah, there's somebody out there. They're
out there being like, you know what, good. They're bad.
That's
people,
Trump's
Russia.
guy. Yeah,
they're supporting Trump. They made the worst thing ever happen. Good. Send our boys over there and die. Kill these Russian bastards because they're interfering with our sacred democracy.
You know,
I really do think that is. It has. I haven't really seen that be vocalized anywhere on social media, but I think that's in the back of people's minds. I really do.
I'm scared now because we know Big Brother watches this show. I don't think anybody thought that yet, and they might go, "Holy shit, this is a good way to get following right now to get Biden's poll numbers back up." But, oh man, Biden comes out there and he starts stuttering about how, you know, they helped, you know, this we got to revenge, you know, avenge them electing Trump. That'd be crazy.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? I don't think they would outright say that because then it becomes too obvious. But I do think that I think that's in the minds of just like your normal average Joe who's a sheep. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
Oh, that was crazy. All right, Doom Nation. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We got some big news coming with the Patriot Podcast Network.
Yeah. Damn it, we fucking
Roku.
forgot to announce that at the beginning. Yeah.
Well,
right.
it's all right. We got it now. I still would like to make a commercial or something to announce it. And yeah, we got a lot coming down the pipeline. There'll probably be another episode out this week, possibly with a guest. We'll set that up tomorrow. We got a new Doomed review coming out, the Book of Boba Fett. And we got a lot of things that we're going to try differently. So we hope you guys enjoy. Leave those comments. If you're listening on audio, 5-star, take the 5 seconds, do the stars, leave a review.
Leave us a review. Someone left a mean review. I was sad.
Did it?
The other day. Yeah. It's I'm just joking. It's we talk politics. People are gonna leave reviews. You know, it doesn't matter if they like, you know, agree. People are gonna like, you know, sandbag you just because they don't agree with you politically. So yes, if you like our show, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Like the video on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Right, please help us out.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Peace out, guys.